I find that you're much more accountable when you're with somebody in person and you're sitting in the same space. And it sort of does bring like a camaraderie that you can't really get all the time when, hey, I'm in Dallas and you're in Denver and this guy's in Boston and we're all talking, but like I never see you, I never meet you, we never shake hands, we never sit down and have lunch together. There
Right.
is sort of a missed human connection sometimes.
We're doing you a disservice if we are not pushing you to your potential of the collaboration aspect of the business and meeting people that have that same mindset of not only being successful in their business, but wanting the people in their community to be successful in theirs.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Measuring Post, a place where we can learn and grow together. Joe Massey here, and today we've got a very unique side of a conversation I recently had where we talked about creating a living space that can maximize your productivity, help your relationships, and sort of really bring clarity to your daily personal life. Today, however, though, I want to extend that same sort of topic of conversation over to the workplace settings. So with me today, I have the General Manager of Sales and Operations at Serendipity Labs Costa Mesa. He is a hospitality leader with over 15 years of experience. That's not only in the restaurant leadership space, but also business consulting and operational turnarounds. He's a leader known for creating environments where people and professionals don't just work, they actually thrive. So please welcome today Mr. Justin Ferland to the Measuring Post. Justin, how are you today, sir?
I'm good, Joe. Thank you for having me. We appreciate being on here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for giving me some time. I know we've been having some scheduling hiccups to get to this point, but glad we were able to get you on the show. And like I mentioned, we previously did have a gentleman on where we talked about doing this in your home, in your personal space, but we've never really talked about creating a really productive work environment. And I think there is something really valuable and powerful to having the right space to work, regardless of what your actual, career path is, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in sales, or whether you're a handyman. You still need to have a space for your stuff, your functionality, and your productivity. So before we get into all of that, how did you kind of find yourself in this space? This seems like something you probably didn't dream of when you were a little kid, but
Very
here
true.
you are.
Very true. As you mentioned, most of my background is in hospitality. I spent that on the operations side, running restaurants, mostly in the Boston metro market, actually. Not even on this side of the country. And not to be corny, but it was serendipitous finding this role. And all of the hospitality skills that I've learned throughout my career translated directly into what we do here at Serendipity Labs. Uh, it's all about collaboration, the community, and another level of hospitality. So it really goes hand in hand with the background that I had previously to the company.
Yeah. So, and you did a lot of the restaurant management. You were in the food and beverage leadership space for a long time, and you sort of create this discipline of like operational excellence. Now, while you're building out your own companies and platforms, was it something like you were always striving to daily to make your own workspace more efficient? Is it about efficiency? Is it about decluttering? Is it about finding the right location to be closer to your prospects? Sort of what is the initial framework that got you going down this path?
Sure, it's all the above. We talk about decluttering, and we always think about that in the materials space, decluttering your desk or cleaning up your office, and you want to be able to do that in your mind as well. It's really good to be able to have dedicated space that is just used for, again, like you mentioned, whatever your profession is, to be able to have that compartmentalization from your professional life and your personal life. Because again, you want a nice work life balance. You want to be able to put everything down at the end of the day and enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, enjoy your hobbies. And the only way to really be able to do that is give yourself the space to work productively when it's time to work productively and be able to step away from that when it's time to step away from that.
Yeah, very true. And I've noticed I do work from home, so the ability to separate those spaces can be a bit muddy sometimes. But also, if you don't, you find yourself easily distracted. Like if I was in my living room and I got my giant TV and the fridge right there and the snacks over there and my dog, and all of a sudden it doesn't feel like I'm in a work environment anymore. I'm at home where it's really easy to sort of let my non-long hair down, for lack of a better
For
term,
sure,
and
for
sort of
sure.
find myself lost in sort of the relaxation mode. So, do you deal with a lot of people that have home office spaces where that's sort of an issue where,
We
separating work and play?
we do. I hate to bring it up, but COVID, when everyone had to, you had no choice but to work from your kitchen table or carve yourself out a space in your bedroom to get work done. And sure, working from home has its perks, without a doubt. But again, as you mentioned, the levels of distraction are always there. Even if you give yourself a dedicated desk, or in your house, you might have kids that are coming in to ask a couple of questions. You might have the dog that it's an easy excuse to step away from work and take the dog out for a walk. Or just pick up the broom and clean your kitchen rather than sit down and focus on what you need to focus on. So to be able to step out of that realm completely, and work from a dedicated desk or a dedicated office, is so valuable, just for your productivity alone. And the research has shown that productivity does start to drop off after a while if you're working from home. The level of productivity does tend to diminish because you have all of those distractions at your house.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The running joke was always with me and my wife, the longer you work from home, the more homeless you look also. Like, it's just really
Like,
easy to not get up and put on a suit, and it's like, it's business from waist up, and it's like sort of the modern day
right.
mullet. Below I'm still wearing my pajamas and slippers, and, COVID definitely had that effect on a lot of people. I was working from home years before COVID started, so that wasn't a transition really for me, but I know a lot of people really struggled with that, and some people love it and just got right into the groove and it was like, I never want to go back to my office. But
Sure.
again, having that dedicated space. And when we first moved into the house I'm in currently, I didn't have like an office, the basement was unfinished. So I had to have like my little laptop set up on the living room or dining room table.
Right.
And, it was fine. It was functional at the time, but it was impossible to not get distracted. Again, kids in and out, dog in and out, wife in and out, whatever, people ringing the doorbell. So creating that space dedicated where I get to have my own little nook in the basement, no distractions, I can close the door and it feels like I'm commuting to work, even though I'm in the same house. I just like sort of like I don't leave this area until my work time allows me to leave.
Sure.
That's been a game changer for me. But I want to get into sort of the way you build out these spaces for people. But first, let's talk a little bit about one of your career milestones, which was actually, turning around a struggling restaurant. So you had to sort of rebuild the culture, stabilize the operations, and build a productive space for a restaurant. So, and you got national recognition for that, from my understanding. Is that correct? From Condé Nast? Is that how you say that?
Correct. Correct. It was and again, as we talk about this, it's using a lot of that same framework to take it's restaurant in crisis or a challenged restaurant, and turn it around to be successful. We use a lot of that same toolkit, with the spaces that we create for co-working and dedicated office space. And those are again hospitality, building community, and building collaboration. All three of those tenants or those pillars are what make both businesses successful. Um, you know, Putting the right processes in place to train a team to exceed expectations for their guests. And again, for our space, they're not guests, our members, our office members. It's the same thought process. Allowing for collaboration among either members or members and guests, and watching those spheres of influence intersect and those businesses grow because of that. And community events. So doing things that are bringing people, inside the four walls of your business, and doing something that gives back to your local community, whether that is participating in nonprofits, hosting networking events, professional networking events, anything like that. Those are what we've realized. Again, like I said, it pushes growth in both businesses and makes them successful.
Yeah, and I noticed that a lot on the digital side as well, like even doing webinars or live, events, even on the internet, so powerful because you're not selling one to one at that point. You're selling one to many. And to do that, you need the proper space, whether it's the right digital platform or the right physical location that's set up to be functional and to allow people into the space and see what you do. But I think the best way to do that is you have to have, first of all, clarity on what you're trying to build. You need to hold yourself accountable. And then you got to sort of get everyone in the building to have that same mindset. Because
For
if you don't
sure.
have somebody that's sort of going with protocol and they're not following the way to make a, preferential space, then, it's like sort of the weak chain link, essentially,
Sure.
for lack of a better term. But
Sure.
so how do you get people to really see their own vision? Maybe they don't understand that their space isn't right. So how do you get that philosophy mindset to them?
That's a good question. Again, it's starting from the bottom up, and um, right from our introduction to these members that are coming into checking out the space, really laying the groundwork of, for lack of a better term, expectation. What we're going to provide to them as a management team, or as a brand, as a company, to help their business succeed, and what the expectations are that we have of them to, be, participants in this business model, so to speak. We do what we can to kind of curate membership as well, and make sure that we have a real broad range of industries that come into our what we call our labs. And again, it's really setting that tone by example of our members of management, and their leadership skills, and they're able to pull out people's personalities from them and really push people toward the collaboration. Sometimes it's a painful process. As adults, we don't like change, and we have difficulty the older we get, putting ourselves out there to meet new people. And some of that stuff, people are bringing to the table themselves, and again, some of that we are, kind of trained on doing for our members. And again, one of the best examples I can give for that is having some really great professional networking groups that will come into the space, and my team is there to really push those introductions, and push those meetings, um, to get our members the full benefit of being in the space. Because again, we're not just in an office space that sits here where everyone comes in and you duck into your own offices, and you put your head down and get your work done. It focuses on the collaboration aspect of it. So we're not doing you, we're doing you a disservice if we are not pushing you, to your potential of the collaboration aspect of the business, and meeting people that um, have that same mindset of not only being successful in their business, but wanting the people in their community to be successful in theirs. That's a big key to the business model for sure.
Yeah, I love the community aspect of that because you're 100% right. It's really difficult as you get older to, I think, even want to entertain the idea of like being in social situations. I'm
Sure.
a very extroverted person. I'm happy to go talk in front of thousands of people. I'm happy to go be the face of something, but I don't always want to go like network and talk shop. And, so it is nice sometimes to just sort of be put into a situation where you're like, hey, today we're going to meet a whole nother business and you're going to talk to them. And if
Exactly.
I take out the friction point where it's like I have to set it up and do all that work, I probably won't do it. And which is weird because of what I do for a living, which is I literally get paid to talk for a living. So, but again, making those connections on your own sometimes, and going back to the old adage, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Sometimes just getting a warm introduction, being like, oh, this person works in the space as well. They do something similar to what you do. It would be wise for you two to sit down and talk for a little bit. All of a sudden, you can build some of your greatest relationships and partnerships from a nice warm introduction. And there's a big value add to being in a collaborative space like that where you're not running the infrastructure, you're not upkeeping everything. You have other professionals that are working with you, near you, and sort of in your space. It gives you an icebreaker built into that topic, right?
It does. It takes the onus off of you. And I joke with some of the managers here that we become the awkwardness sponge, so to speak, for
Yeah.
for members. When you're the person to make that introduction, or you put yourself out there for members, to connect, you take away that pain point for people, a lot of the times. And a really good example that is a little outside of the box for our location here in Costa Mesa. We have someone that has taken a large office. He's an engineer, and he's actually working on a project for the International Space Station. And we have another member who is a 19-year-old college student who is just a coworker. He comes in and grabs his laptop and uses the space to work in the common spaces every day. And we introduced the two about 2 weeks ago, and he's an engineering student as well. And now most days we can find that student, hanging out in the engineer's office, acting as a de facto intern for him, asking a ton of questions. And again, it's two people that normally would not necessarily be put in the same working environment, but when you have a real, a true collaborative work environment with, a multitude of industries in the space, you see a lot of that crossover. And again, something you're not going to get from working from home, something you're not going to get for taking Teams calls with your team. It's only something that is in person. It's something that just can't be replicated artificially yet, anyway.
Yeah, yeah, it's always the key word in today's fast-paced
Absolutely.
AI world. But
Absolutely.
no, there's definitely truth to that. For a while I worked at Dish Network even, and this was after COVID, and I was doing some IT work for them. And they refuse to let people work from home for that exact reason, because you're better together in person. You do accomplish more, and it's easy to have Zoom calls. It's easy to do what we're doing right now and feel like we're really connecting and solving problems, but I find that you're much more accountable when you're with somebody in person and you're sitting in the same space, and it sort of does bring like a camaraderie that you can't really get all the time when, hey, I'm in Dallas and you're in Denver and this guy's in Boston and we're all talking, but like I never see you, I never meet you, we never shake hands, we never sit down and have lunch together. There
Right.
is sort of a missed human connection sometimes that I do
There
miss. I mean, don't
is.
get me wrong, I like working from home, but
I mean,
that's
what
big.
we've started to see trend wise for the workplace is the hybrid work solution, where you had a lot of companies that, yes, everyone went and worked remote during COVID. Some people started never coming back. Companies realized that some sort of in-person connection was needed, and we have a lot of large companies that are working on a hybrid business model now, where before they might have needed a office space of 100,000 square feet for their team, but now working hybrid, they only need a quarter of that footprint to have enough desks for people to come in 20 people at a time. And that's kind of our sweet spot for businesses, is we really are able to make great environments for those companies that are using hybrid business models, and it saves them a ton of money. The amount of money people were paying for office space that wasn't being used, it will really blow your mind, when you're looking at those numbers. So when you're able to just drop your company into a space where everything's already built out for you, your connectivity and your IT infrastructure already done. There's a kitchen that is providing snacks and beverages for your team. No one's worried about a leaky roof or a clogged toilet. Or I mean, it allows you to stop thinking about all these other little things that take up, these minutes that add up to hours that add up to days. Clear that all off your plate so that the time that you are spending in person in a hybrid model, those 20 hours a week or those 15 hours a week can be a lot of times just as, valuable as 35 hours a week when you're spending a good chunk of those 35 hours worrying about things that have nothing to do with the direct success of your business. And again, that's stuff that our teams take care of in all of our locations, is all of those little things. So you can focus at the task at hand, which is your business, collaborating with other members, and your success.
Yeah, that's so true. And actually, I was gonna bring that point up. The overhead that was wasted on building space has got to be astronomical. And it's amazing now, especially post COVID, how many business buildings you see with vacancies or flat out empty. And
Yeah.
somebody owns that, a bank owns that building somewhere along the lines, and somebody's paying a buttload of money for an empty building that, could be repurposed for a more communal space like this or something different. But again, I think COVID did teach us one thing, that a lot of jobs can at least partially be done remotely.
For
And
sure.
obviously with the advance in technology, the connectivity, the ability to video chat and Zoom call and all the spaces, and certainly now with AI where you can automate a big chunk of busy work, that's
Exactly.
something that my other company we really do a lot of. We build systems, and primarily I built them for me first. Like I'm a, if I'm a one man show or a one man team, or I got a couple interns or virtual assistant, but I got to do the work of six people. Having systems in place to automate that is a huge bonus. But I would imagine that having a building space that you don't have to take care of would also be one of those pain points that you're referencing. Like, I don't have to worry if the internet's going to work today. I don't have to worry
Correct.
about if the power's on. I don't have to worry if the desks are clean. You just show up, get your work done, can be 100% in deep focus mode, and then you leave. And then that's beautiful. I actually really like that.
Yeah, it's great. And to your point about AI, obviously there are always two thoughts, two schools of thoughts on AI, whether it's going to eliminate all these jobs, or the flip side of that, which it's going to allow the people that are in these industries to be a ton more productive and get more done. And this business model, for co-working and dedicated desks is very similar to that. This is not necessarily about scaling down your workforce. It's about being able to use the people that you have to put them on tasks that are more important to the success of your business. And on a building level, or on an infrastructure level, when you are a business looking for new office space, IT infrastructure is one of the biggest things that will set your timetable back. You go into traditional commercial office space, and those build outs for your infrastructure for IT can take 6, 9, 12 months. So you're not able to just pick up your team and drop them in place. That takes time, that takes money, that takes labor. And with us, we have all of the IT infrastructure built in. We're able to provision all of those things for members, within a few days max for even complex situations like that. Um, and again, it just is another example of being able to take more off your plate so you can concentrate on the task at hand, get your people into a space for work now, rather than spinning your wheels for 3, 6 months while you're just trying to get your place set up, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's very much the whole point and the premise behind using the cloud. If you're using AWS or Google Cloud or Microsoft's version of it, the reason you would use the cloud is because I don't want to maintain the infrastructure of a
Right.
server farm or a data farm. Let Amazon handle that. I'll just give
Exactly.
them some of my hard-earned dollars to let them do all that busy work, and then I don't have to invest in the massive amount of computing power that a company might need. Now, as
Right.
an individual creator, I probably don't, will never run into that issue. But if I'm running a stack that requires 10, 20 employees, we got outreach systems, we got sales, marketing, HR, having a cloud based system or a dedicated infrastructure team is absolutely paramount. So that leads me to a question. Now, I know you're sort of in the sales side of things, but you also describe yourself as more advisory. So, do you only have spaces that you guys run, or do you advise people on how they can create their own spaces? Like, if they wanted just more of your blueprint model, is that a service that you even offer?
Um, we do it within the four walls of the business, and what I mean by that is we do have some clients that are members rather, that are looking for a handful of office spaces and just want to make it their own that way. Then we have the businesses that come to us that are looking for a full enterprise solution for their team, whether that be taking up an entire floor that we have, and us assisting them with the build out of that. And maybe they have very specific connectivity requirements, or they have very specific um, privacy requirements, whether they're banking or healthcare. Um, we are trained and have the systems in place already to be able to advise them on build outs for that within our four walls. So, and we do see that we do have quite a few banking groups that work with us, because again, we have got 25 locations throughout the United States. So we do have banking, healthcare, again, a bunch of AI startups in our locations. And Some of these are legacy companies that already have a plan in mind of what they want it to look like and how that it should be operated, and we can assist with that. But then we have newer companies that come in, especially in Costa Mesa. We have a lot of fintech, we have a lot of AI groups that come in that are looking for the expertise of what should this look like for us? What infrastructure do you recommend? There's stuff that I can do, on the lab level to help them with that, and then we also have a great support team, on the corporate level that can assist with all of that for them. So again, it's having that built-in consultancy or project manager that again, if you were doing the traditional route, you'd be paying for a project manager or a consultant that costs big bucks over a short period of time. Knowing from personal experience rather, I know what I used to bill out when I was doing consulting, and it can add up for sure.
Yeah, the consulter's path is definitely a lucrative one for yeah, for
It
sure.
sure
And
is.
it really depends on what you're building out for somebody, but
It does.
just I know we keep talking about AI, but you find the consultants in that space right now and they're charging huge retainers and they're building things with no code, low code tools.
Right.
Now, doesn't mean that they're not great tools and they do everything, but it's like a lot of people just don't want to try and do these things on their own. Sometimes
For sure.
I would just rather pay someone to do this for me. I don't care. It might be really easy. It's like one of those things on your honeydew list that you put off for 6 or 8 months, and then you finally decide to do it. It takes you like 9 minutes. You're like, what was I like?
Exactly.
Why was I so afraid to do this? But sometimes it's just the convenience of not doing it yourself. So
For sure.
yeah. So outside of what you do with Serendipity Labs, what's the human side of Justin? Tell me a little bit about your leadership style, your philosophy, your personal life.
Yeah, I mean, my leadership style, I'm very hands-on. I'm very involved with the teams that I lead, and I am a big believer in my favorite quote is "A high tide raises all ships," and that is to say that um, we thrive or fail or on the successes of our neighbors, of our other businesses, our relationships, all of those things. So putting yourself out there to be able to be the person that asks, how can I help you? And that sentence you hear all the time in hospitality and customer service. So how can I help? Um, I truly believe if we applied that more just in our daily lives to people that we interact with, um, not to be corny, but the world would be a better place if we were constantly asking people what we could do to help to support, whether professionally or personally or any of that kind of stuff is something I think we could all strive to do. Once a day, asking somebody, what how can I help? Um, as far as my personal life, I love the outdoors. Again, I live probably 15 minutes from our location here in Costa Mesa. It's 20 minutes to the beach. It's 20 minutes to the mountains. As I mentioned earlier in our talk, I relocated from Boston, so I've been here for a little over a year and a half. I do miss the city. I do not miss the 20 degrees and the 36 plus inches of snow they got this winter. I'm a big outdoors person, so if you like the outdoors, Orange County in California is the place to be. You can bike, you can drive to the mountains to ski, you can surf at the beach. It's really a great spot for sure.
And then you can pop over 15 minutes to Costa Mesa Labs with Serendipity Labs and get your work done as well. So, nice
Absolutely,
nice little plug in
absolutely.
there. Love Boston. Boston's one of my favorite cities of all time to visit. But yeah, I'm glad that we didn't get that. I'm in Colorado and like we got skipped. We had no winter at all this year, which is really sort of unusual. Even our mountains really
It's
suffered. Our
not over
ski
yet,
resorts.
Joe. It's not over yet.
I'm hoping for something. We've got snow maybe 2 times all year, and I mean today it's like 70 degrees here in Denver,
Oh, that's
and
beautiful.
I'm literally wearing shorts. I could go sit on a patio today, and it'd be great. So, and it might be good get some work done out there, sit and get some sun while I'm doing some emails later.
For
But
sure.
what's one thing that you would say like a good takeaway for leaders or entrepreneurs who are looking for a space, what check marks should, what boxes should they check before they come to a place like Serendipity Labs? Like what's one thing that you tell your members like why you would come here? What do you get from us?
Sure. I'm going to go back to our hospitality. Collaboration and community. Those are my 3 buzzwords. You're gonna have somebody here in this workspace that, is exceeding expectations for members, as far as anything they could need within the business, space. Our leadership teams are here for that. We're the one of the only spaces that is, staffed Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. You can always find a skilled, member of management here. Uh, the collaboration. We have, this is a professional yet welcoming environment where if you are looking for a place to take your business to the next level and you feel as though you've plateaued recently, it's a place where you're going to be interacting with a lot of other great businesses that all have the same mindset of success, and it's invaluable. And the third is the community. Again, it's the networking events that you're gonna be able to, expand your sphere of influence. It is the professional events that we put on, workshop-wise that'll, hone your skills in whatever, professional field that you're in. Um, look for those 3 things when you're looking for your next office space, when you're looking to get out of your house and find a little niche for yourself, office space-wise. You should be asking yourself those 3 questions when you're looking at places. Is the hospitality the level that I need it to be at? Do I feel like there's going to be enough collaboration where I'm going to benefit, that my business is going to benefit? And is there enough of a community for the same reasons? Am I getting enough benefit back for what I'm paying for my office space?
Yeah, very smart. And you can find more information at serendipitylabs.com. Now, you also mentioned you have like 25 locations around the US. So you're not just in California. What other states are people able to find you?
We're in most major cities across the country. We were founded in 2011, right outside of Manhattan and Rye, New York. So we have a large contingency of locations in the New York metro area. We're in Atlanta, Florida, the Carolinas, Midwest. We've one in Denver, actually, and Plano, Texas, and then I have another location up in downtown in Los Angeles, about 45 minutes from Costa Mesa. And if you're traveling internationally, we've got 3 in the UK as well.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay. So
Yeah,
on the other side of the pond. So
exactly.
based off of where you're at now, sort of what's the future look like for Serendipity Labs? Is it more offices? Is it more spaces? Uh Taking this digitally to the cloud? What's the roadmap looking like?
I mean, we're always looking for the next best space for our labs. We're very intentional on the spaces that we pick. We want it to make sense for the growth of our company, in the aspect of we are able to give that particular area what they need as far as office space, and collaboration and a community environment. We always have a couple of locations on our roadmap every year that we are looking at. Expansion is always part of the plan. So yes, keep your eyes open. I'm sure that over the next year or so, there's a good chance you'll see a Serendipity Labs in your neighborhood for sure.
Yeah, if there's one in Denver, I might actually have to go check it out just so I can leave my house sometimes.
For
That's
sure.
one of the
Yeah,
things that does
absolutely
get
need to
old,
stop
you know.
in.
Oh yeah, like going to the grocery store can feel like a treat when you work at home and you live at home and everything's here. It's like, oh yeah, we got to go run some errands. Oh no, I'll do it. I'll go do it. So I definitely can appreciate getting out and experiencing really a productive community vibe where you can actually get your work done in a space that you don't have to maintain. So, again, check out serendipitylabs.com. You can find locations there. I would highly recommend that you connect with Justin on LinkedIn. Make sure to stay in touch. But I really like this conversation. I think this is valuable. It's so important to create a space or be in a space where you can actually accomplish what's on your map, like your radar, and not being worried about, do I have the tools? If you go to Serendipity Labs, you're going to have the tools, the community, the space, and most importantly, the hospitality to get work done the proper way. So, yeah, if you have any final thoughts, anything you want to share with our audience.
No, again, the hybrid work model is the way to go. I know people don't want to leave their house. Leave your house, check out some of our spaces, meet some of the members. Again, even if that means that you're just going to get a unlimited co-working membership and come in a couple of days a month and still interact with people. Um, It's going to be great for your professional growth. It's going to be great for your mental health to get out of the house. So I highly recommend checking out one of the labs.
Yeah, absolutely, and good for the mental health. I definitely agree with that. You gotta get out sometimes. You can't be stuck in your basement like me all day. It is bad. I walk out, look like a troll sometimes. So, no, very good. Well, thank you so much. This has been Justin Ferland, Sales and Operations over at Serendipity Labs Costa Mesa. Over 25 locations and continuing to grow across the U.S. Make sure to check him out at serendipitylabs.com. And of course, thank you so much, Justin, for being here on the Measuring Post today.
Thanks for having us, Joe. I appreciate it.